The Mandalorian Season 2, Episode 6, or Chapter 14, The Tragedy. As always, warning, spoilers ahead. I'm gonna paint with broad brush strokes here and then get into some details. A lot happens in this episode. There is a lot going on. Hey, my book is on sale from now until Christmas. Amazon literally will not let me list it any cheaper than it is. $8.99 for paperback, $2.99 for Kindle. Link in the description below. Cool? Let's go. I've been putting on old school Ninja Turtle cartoons from when I was a kid on the TV for my daughter to watch for like 15 minutes while I'm making us some lunch. And while I was watching this episode of The Mandalorian, I got such huge Saturday morning cartoon vibes. I felt like I was watching an episode of some beat-em-up Ninja Turtle show, or those 1940s Superman cartoons where Soup is just beating up the Axis powers and bending howitzers with his Kryptonian biceps. This episode felt like a mix between some of the best Western, not the hotel chain, gunfights and standoffs, mixed with low frame rate strobing kung fu, mixed with Star Wars, of course. The action was fun, it was great, it was most of the episode, at least it felt that way. Most of this episode was like non-stop swinging and shooting. It was short, it was concise, to the point, a nice little compact ball of Star Wars action that blended a lot of genres and a lot of generations of Star Wars together. Tython, or at least the location that they went to on Tython, looked a lot different than what I was expecting to see. In the Dr. Aphra comic, this is what a certain location on Tython looked like, snowy, cold, frigid. I thought they were going to go there in this episode just to kind of tie things together, give us something familiar, a little, hey, I recognize that from a comic. But yeah, cool, different weather, different climates. I dig it. The one thing that felt, maybe not off, maybe off is the wrong word, but really different to me about this episode was the high noon, harsh desert lighting. I've seen a few people mention how this episode felt like a fan film, and I get what they're saying. Maybe it goes beyond just seeing like Boba Fett kick some ass. How I interpret that is the look of it. I think the reason maybe it feels fan filmy to some folks is because of the complete natural, super harsh lighting in the desert. I'm assuming that they shot this on location for most, if not all, of the episode, which I appreciate, and I think especially with a setting like this, it massively adds to the look and feel of the episode. I could be wrong. I would be completely blown away if I found out that most of this was shot with that rear projection technology. But yeah, the look of the episode, I understand why it might be jarring. It kind of is a little jarring when you compare it to the rest of the episodes. It kind of looks like footage that I shot when I was out west with my wife, walking on a Bryce Canyon or Arches National Park trail, filming some stuff in the middle of the day. A little washed out here and there. But yeah, I like and I appreciate the decision to do this on location. I'm really curious where it was shot. Look, I'm saying this was on location. It could have been in a studio. I have no idea. But I am really curious where this was shot and if I've ever been near the location in my travels. So the opening of this episode was very touching, which only sets up the tragedy that comes at the end and makes it even more painful. As a dad, as a parent, watching the bond between Din and Grogu has been a lot of fun to see. The parallels of real world parenting and Mandalorian parenting are there. Something as simple as seeing and hearing Din tell the child, hey, don't touch that. I've told you 1,000 times, don't touch that. Hearing something simple like that, it does connect me deeper with the show. Don't touch that. You're going to hurt yourself. Okay, I told you. I told you. Don't jump on the stairs. I told you. In an inexplicable way, it makes me enjoy the show that much more. Grogu ends up having this mysterious connection on the stone that Ahsoka mentioned last episode. I loved the way this was done. At first, it seemed like a dud, right? And then the connection happens. Mando has to contend with events outside of this Force connection, helping where he can. But in this moment, Grogu is on his own. It felt like this low-key Force moment in the middle of high desert, in the middle of nowhere, in complete isolation. It's hard to explain, but I loved the way it was handled. Like, this Force connection could have been like, oh, the Force, horns playing and beautiful, mysterious music going on and just like lights shining down from the heavens. Oh, everyone's standing in awe. But no, they played it down. Kind of like the reveal of the Falcon in The Force Awakens. I love that reveal. You know, it's a hunk of junk in a junkyard and the camera just turns to it. You get a little jolt of music. It's not sitting in the hangar going, ah, with lights on it. Oh, remember the Falcon. Anyway, I just loved how this little Force connection was done. It was great. I like when big moments are kind of played down. I don't know how to explain it. Now, Boba Fett. I liked his presence here, but I feel like I would have liked any character's presence here, if that makes sense. I just like the way the character was in this episode. Most of you know how I'm not a fan of continuously bringing back characters. Darth Maul, Palpatine, Boba Fett. You know, as a concept, bringing characters back from the dead has never done anything for me. Conceptually, it often gives me the opposite reaction than what was intended. I don't have that, holy shit, it's Boba Fett, he ain't dead. Oh shit, that's Darth Maul, he ain't dead. I don't have that gene. I don't. Sorry, I mean, but I can appreciate the execution of bringing the character back, right? There's a difference. Conceptually, not a fan, but I can appreciate the execution. The execution of bringing Darth Maul back in the Clone Wars was great. The execution of bringing Boba Fett back in The Mandalorian, at least in this episode, fun so far. The execution of bringing Palpatine back in The Rise of Skywalker, nah. There's a great standoff between Mando, Boba Fett, and Fennec, who you may remember from the episode Gunslinger, season 1 episode. Boba Fett wants his armor back, basically. He got it from his dad, sentimental about that armor. He says if Mando gives his armor back, he'll ensure the safety of the child. It's this promise that really sets up the rest of this season, really, and potentially the start of next season. The standoff was really great, and while this conversation is going on, some Imperial troop transports drop down and unload a ton of stormtroopers, and most of the episode was a shoot 'em up, beat 'em up, stormtrooper head bashing extravaganza. There's some really fun gunplay here, and Indiana Jones Boulder shows up, but the episode really just felt like a way to show how super fucking badass Boba Fett is. And hey, it was insanely fun, don't get me wrong. Like I said at the beginning of this video, it felt like an episode of the Ninja Turtles that I've been showing my daughter, right? Fast, fun action. And it felt very similar to the episode with Bo-Katan and the episode with Ahsoka, even. And by that, I mean familiar character. Familiar character is the ultimate badass. Familiar character mows down enemies scene after scene. It felt very similar in that way to the times we've seen familiar faces in not too distant recent episodes. But hey, it was fun. So what all happens in this episode? Force connection Grogu, Boba Fett meets Mando, stormtroopers get destroyed, dark troopers drop down, dark troopers steal Grogu, Razor Crest gets destroyed, Moff Gideon is pleased because he has his new donor, Boba Fett says he's going to help get the kid back, and Bill Burr's character Mayfeld will make a return. So much happens in what is one of, if not the, shortest episodes of the series so far. I love it. Oh yeah, the Dark Troopers, they were ruthless. I really liked them. I love the scene of Grogu swinging the Stormtroopers around in the holding cell like the Force Unleashed. This is such a great setup for things to come. The one thing that felt weird to me was almost like the lack of emotion from Din when Grogu was taken. Maybe I need to watch it again, but yeah, maybe that's just the Mando way, you know? Compartmentalizing distress, pushing it down, but I'm sure he'll get his revenge, right? This was a super fun episode. Felt like an episode of a cartoon. Felt like an issue of a comic. Insanely action-packed, with the execution of bringing back a familiar face done in a fun way. So now it's Mando and Fett and Fennec, and they're gonna be hunting for the child. It does feel a little weird. It's almost an inexplicable thing. I don't know if I'll ever get over that blockage in my brain of not liking conceptually the idea of bringing characters back. I know I'm a broken record about it, and you know, most people, and I know I'm in the minority when it comes to that opinion, most people love seeing all these familiar faces. I get it, man. I love to see more of what I love, right? I'm not immune to it. I completely understand it. But yeah, that hump, I don't know if I'll ever get over it. It's literally the one thing about this season that I'm a little iffy about. And that's okay, right? You can thoroughly enjoy something while being a little iffy about something in the said something, right? It's okay to have multiple thoughts and opinions in your brain even if they kind of conflict with one another, right? Are we allowed to do such things? So yeah, Grogu is at the moment captured. I believe Gideon called him the latest donor. I think that's what he said. So I don't really think the Dark Troopers had anything to do with Grogu, right? I mean, I think some people thought they were trying to get Grogu's blood to make Dark Troopers or these super special trooper units, right? I think the Empire is wanting to use Grogu for something else. And I really still feel like it's heading in the direction of a connection with the events of the sequel trilogy. In my bones, I feel that way. Snoke, Palpatine, something like that, right? So yeah, what'd you guys think of this episode? Let me know in the comment section below. Enjoy your weekend. I'll probably watch this one again tonight and watch Boba Fett swing his gaffy stick around.
Bill Burr is back, baby. Bill Burr is back.